teaching, we are very concentrating very much on the development of the what we call the space technology through non-matter condition. Now that we have come to understand the power of the plasma and the field plasma. Field plasma, if and once we start understanding in more depth, means everything to us. It will become the essence of our energy, the essence of our existence, the way we absorb energy from the environment in space. How we extend this, how we develop this, how we come to understand the capabilities of our own soul is very important. It's important in 2 or 3 ways. Because in the space, the way we are teaching is one thing very clear. We do not need to depend on matter states anymore. The knowledge has been passed on. I'm teaching. The knowledge has been passed on enough that we can go into the next steps of development of the technology, which means we become independent of matter state, which means we have become independent of hoping that somewhere down the line we will be receiving some matter state energy pack, we call it food, that allows us to survive. Now we have learned the secrets of the creation. How we interact, how we absorb these energies, and what we need from the energies become part of the understanding of totality of the knowledge which have been brought forward in past few months and years. What does this mean? This means if you wish to have a status of joy, you can create that status because you know the strength. If you want to create a status for production of cells that it needs to repair an accident to an arm or a leg, you still can do. If you come to the point that you reach a condition that you want to develop certain materials that satisfies the need of the point of manifestation of physicality, you still can do. The only thing is now we have to teach is the filtering system. We have shown you how to gather, how to bring energies. You have learned how to create or how to absorb. In yesterday's teaching, I hear people speak about how they can get energy by different rates of breathing, which I explained you can do it from the energy source of the creator itself. And then once you do this, how do you convert energies? How do you convert it to the cell of a body? How do you convert it to a material for a chair? How do you convert the condition of understanding to a table, to something to create communication line? These all become a reality, which means we learn how to convert fields very much. Now that we have received it, now we convert it into what we imagine. Go back, you know this technology very well. You desire to have an arm. You create it through the understanding of the need of it, and the brain through its structure accepts and delivers. You expect the structure of, at the moment you get on the computer and you draw a 3-dimensional, then you can go, then you go on let's say 3D printers to develop what it is, and then you have the material in your hand. When the man matures to understand the conversion, he'll find out that he can do this with his own thoughts, with the strength of his own thoughts, with understanding of his own thoughts. You do not need to sculpture. The sculpture comes from the state of the mind of the man, which means we become very powerful in our desires. What we desire, what we wish to have, we can achieve. What we want to achieve and what we need at the point of demand is become the limitation of the soul of the man and the conversion of the material. So when you see something in space and you want to replicate it, as long as you understand it, it should be no problem. In time, we learn how to divert fields, how to absorb fields, how to give fields. The essence comes that we have to learn from the structure of our own physicality. It's the same brain, and then in different resistance or interactions of the fields, we change it to different emotions, to different part of the physicality of the man. If you think of it, many times, many of us must have wondered, how come the body has all these organs all arranged, the liver, the kidney, and everything else? What was the desire to have these? What was the initiator? Or did somebody come and plant a 3D man, and then the structure was put in a, what I call like a CD recorder? In fact, you'll learn in time, as we develop the knowledge of the transfer of the fields in different strength, that the systems lead to the creation and the generation of the other systems to balance themselves. What this means is, once you desire to digest a food which you need or you think you like to be able to digest, then the system of the body goes into operation to see how this food can be digested, what enzymes it needs, how does it need to change its production in the stomach that can satisfy the soul of the man. So the body goes into operation. The stomach goes into operation of production of acid for absorption of this material. And then if we do it enough, that brain continuously sees to satisfy the desire of the soul, finds an enzyme for that purpose to digest that food. And then once you digest it, the system builds itself that it can absorb it. Then at the same time, the liver goes into the process of storage facilities for this special thing, otherwise it rejects it. Because if you need it, you have to hold it. If it's the desire has been to please me, has to be there. Then it comes to the blood system and filtration and everything else. Then the whole system adjusts itself. This is how we evolved. The evolution of the body of the man comes that way. So in the short time, in the space, we learn a lot about these things. That our desire to have, to contain, to be able to enjoy the desire of satisfaction will lead the whole field structures to structure themselves in a way that allows the satisfaction. This is how our systems in our bodies work. This is how our systems have been evolved. In time, as we evolve, we learn more and more. As we understand the process of the radiation, the field transfer, the strength transfer, then we see the transfer in its position. Therefore, what we understand is how our desire, the need of the soul in condition of physicality, comes to manifest itself as totality of the presentation. It is important that we understand these things before we go into space. There's no use going to space when we know how to receive, but we don't understand in which way we can convert the material to be able to sustain the existence of the soul in its operation, and then conversion of its physicality. What it means to create fields as a given strength, which creates condition for us to manifest ourselves in the dimension which we appear or we desire to appear. The soul of the man is a star. The soul of the man is the essence of the creation. The soul of the man is the operation of the totality. What we do with it is our desire. There is one thing which always stays in the back that we have to remember. It's a beautiful word, it's a beautiful sentence. I made man in the image of myself. All desires come from the soul. Then the physicality satisfies the desire of the soul in the dimension of physicality. The point for all to understand is that we always thought, I wish, I desire, I want to have, and we work for it. Now we understand that desire, the source of it, the essence of it, comes from the operation of the strength of the soul. This is going to be a lot of problem for a lot of people to understand this. This is going to be a lot of problem in trying to test and try. How much field do I absorb to sustain the continuity of the work of the soul, and how much do I give from which strength that it leads to creation of what I need. What is my hope? What is my desire? What do I want? We need to absorb enough that we sustain the soul. At the same time, we convert what we need from what we absorb to the desire of the soul, that what it be. My desire to manifest in planet Zeus. So when I reach planet Zeus, I manifest myself to be shown. But I don't want to be seen on the moon, and I don't want to be seen on the Mars, because to me there are no interests. This is so important, and in many of my teachings I keep on referring to the girl which desired to play harp, how she changed her future. Now we understand more. Now we come to understand more. Now we come to the point to understand that our desire is the giver and the structure of our physicality. This has been a big problem for many of us for a long time. If we understand who dictates our future, it's us who dictates our position, it's us who dictates the presence and the manifestation, then we'll find out many people will change. The balance of peace comes when the soul is satisfied. The balance of peace comes when the interaction between the fields of the soul, the physicality and the emotion are in harmony. Man always have been in the race to survive. And in that race, he has forgotten many things. In that race, man has forgotten exactly what he needs to do to be at peace within himself. This is part of the work that we have to learn. To allow, first of all, our own souls to be at peace. And then, in learning it, we teach the other souls that it brings the manifestation of it in physicality. We got to understand the structure of the soul of the man is the existence of the man. We got to understand is the man who decides through his soul how he behaves in physicality, and then the filtering is just a change of operation. You got to realize something very strange. We don't hear, we don't see, but when we consume the body of another entity, be it the lamb, be it the nut, be it the fruit, the soul of the man hears the soul of the entity. And that creates a dimension of not satisfaction. And then we see the behavior with it. The closer the strength of the entity in the field to the soul of the man, the harsher the body will take. A slight deviation creates a slight behavior of the soul of physicality. Man will learn very, very soon in the space that he needs very, very little to survive. Man, it needs to understand that in the future, when in the space, these huge consumption of fields of the energies we are used to as food is not needed. Because we are an environment that is balanced and has kept itself in the balance of itself. And this brings a lot of peace. This brings a lot of calmness. This brings different behavior. It's very much is you are working very hard. You work till late in the evening, just the day before you go on a holiday. All stressed up. I have to finish everything at work. That when I go, everything is done. The stress will build up. And then we just get on the plane and we enter the holidays resort. It's the same man. The mood changes. The need changes. The pleasures changes. The understanding changes. It's the same clothes. It's the same physicality. It's the condition of the environment which brings a different emotion. And this is what we work. And this is what we look at. And this is what we understand. It's the dimension of physicality in the position of the environment which dictates the reflection and emotion of the emotion, how we feel and how our souls behave. The day before, 10 hours before, so stressed up in the office box that he had to meet certain demand in that condition. And again, we go into another condition. Again, another box. We call it the hotel room, and we see the change. We change immediately, automatically. And this brings us peace. So we have already seen these conditions. We already understand these conditions. It's just that we have had no time to look at it, to understand it, and finding out that it's us who dictates the position of our souls in the physicality of the existence. Then, if we do this, it's for us to practice. I want to be happy. I need to absorb fields that it makes my physicality satisfied in the condition of their existence. One of the biggest problems for man in a space will be greed, to have more. He will find out he has a big problem with this. The greed of the man does not get satisfied because there are no fields to see and to satisfy these kind of behavior. The greed to exist, to survive, will be with us. But the greed to add more does not come because we do not understand. Just 1 second, please. Sorry about this. We are preparing everything for the press conference, part of the structure. Because then you come to be consumer of the totality, and that does not happen because the field is stronger than you. You stop receiving it because they have to be in balance too. This is one of the beauties of this technology, of understanding of totality, of understanding how we structure ourselves according to our soul's satisfaction of the presence. What we see as riches and poor does not exist in the universe. There are no jewels to dress up to, and there are no mansions to be in, and there are no cardboard boxes to hide in from the cold. We desire, we receive according to the condition. This environment is cold for me. I like to be at the point at which my soul is happy. Two things happens. Your body creates its own shield or in strength that it does not allow the totality. Yeah. In this process, we understand more and more of the same. This is part of the condition of the understanding of the progress of the soul. So once we go into that direction, once we go into that the strength, we'll find out that the totality is in the time of the control and finding out that what we need allows us to gain what we have, what we want to have. The environment is too cold. The environment, is it cold? Or do we feel any temperature at all in the depth of the space as a gas entity? You'll find out most of the time we do not. The coldness, the warmth is a condition of physicality. Till you do not accept the condition of physicality, you'll find out these conditions don't exist. This is the progress in the total understanding of the work of the universe. These are the fears which man has carried with himself in the dimension of physical matter of this planet. The space is free. The space is total. The space is accommodating to the factors of the satisfaction of totality. This is what we'll work with. This is how it works. This is how the understanding of the fields are. But the problem is, how do we absorb these fields and how do we radiate these fields? How do we accept? We expect at the present time, when we think we need a field, I'm hungry, the body has to get fields that I don't feel hungry. It's not such a case. We have to learn what is needed at the time it's needed, that my body absorbs. What we call the tables of luxuries of food will not exist, because every second, every minute, we take what we need according to the fields of what we need. Sitting at the tables of lamb and roast and chicken and fruits will be the history of the mankind. That's something we carry with us, and the more we become educated in the knowledge of science of universe, we come to regret. Because once you become the man of space and your soul dictates this condition of physicality, the soul is responsible for the feeding of the physicality in the dimension of the manifestation. You'll find out having food, the way we look for, the way we grow, is non-existence in the space. You will never feel hungry. You never feel cold. You never feel endangered, because unless it's a matter of accident, you do not receive what you do not need, what you do not like. And this allows you to develop more and more senses. It allows you to develop more and more conditions of acceptance of the fields. And with it, it satisfies the need of physicality. The structure is very simple. Most of our fears are for the present time, conditioned to the condition of this planet. In space, they do not exist. Many times, when I look at the excursions into space and I see astronauts and cosmonauts, they hang themselves to the chain that they are inside, locked up to the earth condition. I say to myself, why these people don't understand? Let the chain go. You become part of the universe. Man learns very quickly that the spacesuit he's carrying himself in is the prison of his physicality. In space, if once the man learns how to operate his soul, and it comes out of the fear, then he will live within the spans of universe. This is the beauty of it. Many times when I look at these astronauts throwing a hammer or a spanner, I say, how stupid. They have not learned the freedom of the space. If it was me, I'd let go, I cut the chain. Because I know in the deep space, at a point of survival, I'll survive. I know my soul will take the condition of the physicality of the environment. I have enough trust in the strength of my existence to know that now that I'm away from the gravitational magnetic field of this planet, I'm free to dictate what I want to be. The biggest problem is, how do I get out of this spacesuit? How do I get myself from the trap I trapped myself into to be chained to the gravitational field of this planet? Man has never had the time to understand. He always lived by the fear of being something happening, that he never allowed himself to test and try himself, for himself to understand how he changes things, how he is the dictator, how he dictates his own condition. Our fear has made us small cages. Our fear of unknown, which is we know fully, out of fear of not knowing, which we know to in totality, has kept us the prison of this planet. Question to ask: why do we die? What's the condition of death? Why do we reach to a point that we die? What brings that point? Is that the end, or is the death in the physical condition maturity of the soul to take its own new dimension in the spans of the universe? The latter is more correct. It's very much like a fruit. It needs time to ripen, and when it ripens, it opens up, and in opening up, releases the soul of the man to a new dimension of his own freedom without physicality. Man has fear of death because of his lack of understanding of the totality of the creation. So many times I say, and I've said, I'm ashamed to be in the body of the man. It means I want my soul to be released, that I can enjoy the freedom of the space. Does not mean by killing yourself. It means that I can be part of the totality with respect to what has created me. When you commit suicide, you cut the line of respect to the dimension. When you die in a natural process, you have committed the separation. It's like saying goodbye. Thank you for looking after me. Thank you for nourishing me. This is the difference. Respect for existence, even respect for the mother of your soul, which is your physicality, in nourishing you, in nourishing the soul of the man. Man needs to mature. Man needs to understand more. Man needs to come out of this fear of death to understand it's a joy of freedom. It's a joy to be able to interact at a higher order. As I said in the other teachings, it's like the electron hidden within the center of the neutron. This freedom brings more agile, more energetic, more powerful system, what we call an electron, but it still keeps in touch with its physicality. Once man learns this, once the man, human race understands, he will not yearn for death, but he will yearn for elevation of it to achieve freedom of physicality, where in the new dimension will attain another physicality according to the satisfaction of the soul and the presence of its existence. Existence is sweet if man understands the sweetness of the universe, how sweet it is to be part of universal community. Because there and then man understands he's not in a family of a child and a mother or a father, but he's a family, part of the totality of the whole membership of the universal community. Then the family is big, it's just, it's correct. In the progress of this development, different humans will choose different paths to the maturity. Some will take into spaceships, some will take into the process of understanding the separation of the soul that they can control. Some will go to the ultimate point, understanding the totality of the operation, which is existence of the field of the existence of the universe. Then there is no universe. Then you become part of the universe as you can travel the spans of the universe according to the feeling. Even the ray has emotion and the soul. This is the beauty of it. go back to the book number 2 and you understand more. As I said, I have to attend the press conference.